And we're still a while longer on this subject because we're joined on the phone lines by Vincent, Assafuah, the Member of Parliament for Old Tafo, and Lanti Vanderpoy, the Member of Parliament for Ododo Diodio constituency. Now, I'll begin with the Member of Parliament for Old Tafo, the Honorable Vincent Assafuah. Honorable, thank you very much for joining us here on the Channel One newsroom. I'm sure you're happy by this decision of the Supreme Court. So that is the legal solution you were looking for. In terms of procedures and the political aspect, I heard the majority leader talk about engagement. How are you hoping to go about this in Parliament?
Well, let me say a very good evening to you and to my senior colleague on the line, the Honorable Vanderpoy. I do not think that this is a victory for the NPP, for which reason I'm supposed to be happy. No, I don't think so. I actually believe that this is a test to our constitution and our democracy. It's a victory for our democracy. Going forward, it means that there is some amount of finality that has been put to what really Article 97 is going to serve as some amount of guidance as far as the future is also concerned. So this is a victory for our democracy. It's not victory for the New Patriotic Party or the majority caucus. It has also put some amount of finality as to who is majority in Parliament and who is minority in Parliament. Because the effect of the judgment of the Supreme Court is that whatever relief that was sought for by the plaintiff succeeds unanimously except to the jurisdiction. Jurisdiction in this context as to whether the Supreme Court assumes responsibility to be able to interpret Article 97 1-2. It is interesting to know that the two dissenting opinions also depict that the Supreme Court, the thinking chamber, all the Supreme Court judges were able to put their opinions and their understanding to the law to bear. And for that matter, based on their understanding, they were able to rule or to give a judgment as to what they think the meaning of Article 97 G and H is. And so it's a victory for Ghana, it's a victory for our democracy.
So you're expecting that, as stipulated in Article 2 of the Constitution, the Speaker would obey and apply this ruling of the Supreme Court. But what if there is non-compliance in Parliament? Do you have any concerns?
The law is very clear. It is not within my bosom to decide what will happen if the Speaker so wishes or so decides not to comply with the judgment of the Supreme Court. As a lawyer, I think that if there is any available tool for the Speaker of Parliament, if he so disagrees with the judgment, I think that there's an opportunity for him to go back to the Supreme Court for a review of the judgment. Mind you, he failed to show up in court to defend the suit in question. So what that means is that you have to prove to the Supreme Court why that opportunity was given and he failed to do so. That is, if he decides to disagree with the Supreme Court and would want to seek for a review. Apart from that, I do not think that there's any other option available to him. He may decide to disagree and he may decide to share his opinion about it. But that is the interpretation of the law. When you read a number of cases, Espate, Makosa, Zenato, and what have you, it talks about the fact that the meaning of the Constitution is what the Supreme Court says.
All right.
So what the Constitution means is what the Supreme Court has said, or the meaning that the Supreme Court gives to it. So it doesn't lie in the mouth of anybody to say that I will not comply with the interpretation that has been given to the constitutional provision. Mind you, Ghana practices a constitutional supremacy. Constitutional supremacy in the sense that Government 101 will also educate you or will let you know that there are three arms of government. We have the executive, we have the legislative arm of government, and the judiciary. And all these arms of government are subservient to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
All right.
And the same power that is given to the Speaker of Parliament for him to assume jurisdiction, for him to say that I'm calling the House off, or if you like, I am suspending the House in a day and all that. Those powers come from the Constitution. It cannot be seen to be appropriating and reprobating at the same time.
All right, Honorable Vincent, thank you very much for joining us here on the Channel One newsroom. Honorable Vincent Assafuah is Member of Parliament for Assafuah.